What's up, my doers and duets? Welcome to another episode of SportsCy. In today's Taking Flight series, I'm actually going to show you a clip that I shot over a week ago. Unfortunately, I had left my laptop on a recent trip, and I'll explain that after the video. And so without further ado, here's exactly what happened when I decided to do a 2-a-day, and I decided to combine my plyometrics and my strength training. All right, here we go. What's up, my doers and duets? Welcome to another episode of SportsCy. In today's episode, we're going to be working on strength training and also some plyometrics because the clock is ticking and we're getting near our end. All right, here we go. So I just realized if I'm gonna be working out like heavily this week, man, I need to make sure my calories are up, because the last time that I tried to push myself leading up to a deadline is when I ruptured my Achilles, and that was 6 years ago, and I don't want to do the same thing. So can't be dumb. We gotta be over here. Like, I always like coming here because if I am running low and I need some bagels to really get some carbs in, because carbs are going to help you maintain that muscle mass, and also it's going to help your muscles recover. Carbohydrates are your first source of energy, so it's very important for you to actually carb up. Like Sara Lee bread mini bagels, I like these. It's not the most I have probably the most unorthodox way of carbing up, because I'll just take down a whole bag of these. The great thing about this is that each bagel is only 100 calories, so if I get 12 of them, it's 1200 calories, but I need to get a lot of calories in, and my fitness pal says I need to get 3200 based on the goal that I've set in terms of my body weight and body fat percentage. Okay, so now I'm actually gonna get out of people's way so that they can actually get what they need to eat, and I'll catch y'all at the gym. Here we go. Alright, so we're back to the gym, and so it's time for me to get started. Alright, so in today's episode, like I mentioned, I'm going to be doing some strength training, but also I haven't tested my vertical in a while, so I'm about to test my vertical, and then I'm actually going to get my 2-a-days in. The first thing you should always, I mean, I mentioned this before, or maybe I don't know if I mentioned this before, but if you're gonna do plyometrics and strength training, your plyometrics should be the first thing that you should do, because it's a power movement and you want to make sure that you are the most explosive while you're doing them. So because I'm not gonna be doing like a high volume of plyometrics, the first thing that I'm gonna be doing is that. So I'm gonna be doing plyometrics just to get started, and then I'm going to take a little bit of break because I got a client a little bit later, and then I'm going to use that as a little bit of a break, and then I'm going to come back and work out a little bit more. So if y'all ready to go, let's get started. Ooh. Delicious. Delicious. Alright, let's test this vertical, baby. Check me out. Well, still got some work to do. Let me start working on these plyometrics because I'm running out of time.
Wide open, you got me wide open.
Sitting on the groove that he wanna play, checking out the groove that you display. You got it wide open, you got it wide open.
Okay, so these are really tiring, as you can tell. And if you find yourself where you're getting fatigued, it's much better to stop and protect yourself from actually causing injury. So you can tell the hesitation that I had there. That is just very dangerous. You don't want to deal with that. So the thing with seated box jumps, I like seated box jumps just because when I have a dumbbell, probably 50 pounds is a little bit too heavy, but you know, I really want to hit this goal. So like the reason why I need to make sure that I'm challenged is if I'm challenged properly, then anytime that I need to actually increase my vertical to jump up, or anytime that I really need to make sure that I recruit as much muscle recruitment as possible to jump high, then it's just going to make it much easier. So that's why the weight is there. Weighted allows me to where I can use a box that's not quite as high as it needs to be, because I'm still having the weight used as force of gravity against me, so that I keep getting challenged. So that's what I really want to work on as I'm trying to improve my vertical. So that pretty much does it on this front, the hurdle jumps, which means, and the whole thing about hurdle jumps, when I do hurdle jumps, I'm trying to jump in between each one of them, and the common mistake is if you actually end up pausing in between each jump. If you pause in between each jump, it's going to make it to where you're losing the whole point of plyometrics. The whole point of plyometrics is short ground contact. You're not trying to do too long of ground contact. You're trying to jump immediately over and over again. And then later on, I decided to do some medicine ball broad jumps. And you know, you want to be in an athletic stance as you jump back and forth, and you want to do about 3 sets of these, and you know, and that should actually help improve your vertical. I feel like that's the one thing that's been holding me back, is that power that I'm driving through my hips. So that workout was tough. Just finished training my client. Now on to the next exercises. Probably gonna be like, I'm really gonna be hitting it hard this week, so I really gotta make sure I'm hitting the hamstring as hard as I can possibly do it. So I'm gonna do some RDL, then I'm gonna do some standing single one leg calf raises, and then after that I'm also gonna do some tibial anterior exercises. I'm thinking instead of doing the kettlebell, I'm actually gonna do the resistance band, because my knee, I just wanna make sure, especially with the volume kick up right before the deadline, I want to make sure that I'm protecting my knees as well, so that I don't run into an injury when, you know, I was pushing something really tough. So, all right, so the workout is over. Now it's time for me to head home, get some grub, make sure that my nutrition is just right, and I'll talk a little bit more about carbohydrates and why they're important for athletes. Check me out. Alright guys, so there you have it. That was the video. That was me actually working out. So very important that I need to stress out in this video. In the video I was mentioning how I needed to work on my nutrition, and how the last time that I pushed on something that like nearing a deadline, that I ended up rupturing my Achilles. And so it actually happened during the video, but I honestly wasn't feeling too much pain. While I was doing the broad jumps, I ended up landing incorrectly and my knees caved in, and so they call it knee valgus, and that's not very good. So, and part of the cause of it is because I was doing entirely too much volume. I was doing too much volume because I was doing seated box jumps. And even when I added the weight and I did dumbbell seated box jumps, towards the end, I actually had the hesitation where I almost ate it. And then even when I was doing the hurdle jumps, I almost ate it again just because my body was fatigued. And so that should have been an indication right there that I was probably doing too much at the time. But because I'm a doer, I'm not a don'ter, you know, I decided to, you know, keep pushing it, which was fine because, you know, ultimately I didn't really get hurt. Part of it is something that, oh man, it's a belief. What I ended up doing and how I ended up getting hurt is I was doing FTB, which I call functional training bullshit. And I was basically thinking that, oh, because I'm running low on time, I need to combine workouts so that I can get better performance, which is just dumb. So the thing that I preach to you guys that you can learn from me, learn from my mistakes, is stick to your program. Even if it seems like the deadline that you set, you're not gonna be able to hit it, don't change your program at the last minute to try and get that extra edge because you're just gonna run into problems. So do not be an FTB at all. Don't practice FTB. Functional training bullshit. Anyways, so another thing also in the video, if you paid attention, I was mentioning nutrition. Good thing is that, so after this minor injury, I decided to take a few days off, and I decided to dial it back just a little bit so that I was able to recover. Last week, I've actually hit my calories, hit my protein, making sure that I actually cooked at home. I even had a nice dish last night. I decided to make some chicken. I didn't have tortilla wraps. Usually it's chicken fajitas, and I end up putting peanut butter in it. It's delicious. But anyway, so that gave me a lot of protein, and now today, like the past few days, my knee has felt fine, which is also an indication that I've been getting the proper amount of calories and I've recovered properly. So going forward, even though the series I wasn't able to hit my goal at the deadline, I still will continue to work on my vertical leap, and I will document that as I progress. But we'll talk about different topics as the channel goes on. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, we'll talk about some more topics as the weeks come. There's an exciting series that I'm about to start regarding that is centered around football, and it's directly fantasy football, and I'll tell y'all more about that in the next video. So what I plan to do is to still work on my vertical jump as the weeks come, and I'll just stick to the program, not try to force it. So lessons to be learned here. Do not push yourself too hard by doing functional training bullshit, whereas you're saying like, oh, if I challenge myself on this area and then I decide to combine it with strength training, then together I'm gonna be better. That's dumb thinking. Don't do that. So don't do what I did that day, because I could have easily resulted in a serious injury, and I'm so happy that I did not. So please do not do the same mistake that I did. I really want to thank all the people that have tuned into the vertical jump series. I finished with my vertical jump being at 27 inches. So it was an increase of about like 3 inches. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with it, you know. So like I just kind of keep going. I think the big mistake that I made throughout this series, and you know, like I say, with every win is a reflection, and with every loss is a lesson. And the big lesson that I learned is that I needed to stick to my program, and primarily I needed to focus on my strength training. So that's why I say I'm still gonna keep working on it, because I need to, in order to improve my vertical jump for the future, I need to really make sure that that strength training aspect is taken care of before I start getting too crazy with the plyometrics. Because if you start doing plyometrics but you haven't gotten the base level strength, then you're not really gonna make too much progress. And like, yeah, you might increase your vertical leap, but you're not gonna do nearly as much as if you just focus on the strength training aspect first, and then in the latter part focus on plyometrics. So with that, that's it for the day. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And again, here on SportsCy, Don't be a don'ter, be a doer. And we're always trying to be winners. And I'll catch y'all next time. Check me out.